events at the end of the day is an accelerator of business and of a human connection. And
Alon Alroy, thank you so much for joining me on 20-Minute Leaders. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you very much for inviting me.
I see you in your makeshift office in the heart of New York quarantine.
Honestly, I wish I was back at the office, so at least I have a Zoom background to help me feel as if I'm in the office, but we're all working
Definitely.
from home at the moment.
Definitely. How's it going in New York right now, actually?
New York feels a bit strange, honestly. You walk in the
Yeah, I'm
streets, there
sure.
are people in the streets, but Broadway is completely empty. All of the stores are shut. So it's
Yeah.
a little bit sad.
And I bet it's even more a little bit sad when you're running and you helped found an event management SaaS platform when I'm assuming that there aren't too many events taking place right now, right?
You are right that when it all started, early March, as a company, Bizzabo, as you mentioned, is an event success platform. Like every good startup, we've had our roller coaster across the
Yeah.
years. And when that thing hit us, I looked at my co-founders. They were like, "That's gonna be a good chapter to the book. How do we deal with that one? That it's not even legal to run events."
Oh God,
And
that's funny.
we took a decision very, very fast that you know, people want to see each other, want to meet. Events at the end of the day is an accelerator of business and of a human connection. And if people do not have a way to meet in person, they're going to find the next best way, which is to meet almost in person over the virtual space. So we decided within 2 weeks to launch a virtual event platform in a way to adjust our events management platform into a virtual event management platform. So the first 2 weeks were tons of uncertainty, unknowns. People thought that the entire event software industry is going down, but I can tell you now we are 6 weeks in, and we've had the best month ever in terms of demand and sales
Really?
and so on. So we're actually these are business-wise, these are good times.
Okay, so you went from being a company that is now existential in the sense that you don't know when is going to be the next legal event, and you're turning it around to creating to pivoting and adapting to the situation and having one of the best months of the company. What is event success platform in general? What does that even mean?
So events are, and when I say events, I mean professional events. We're talking about conferences, user
Yep.
summits, and so on.
Not my birthday party.
Exactly, not your bar mitzvahs.
One day it will be
And
professional as well. I'm telling you.
probably. So events are very complicated.
Yeah.
Having said that, are very meaningful for business. 24% of marketing budgets of an average B2B organization is being invested at events. But um, operationally wise, again, complicated, very difficult to measure, very difficult to demonstrate the value, although everyone is doing it.
Yeah.
We, in a way, a couple of years back, we started with having a networking solution for events because we thought everyone is coming to network, but then we discovered that the needs are much, much bigger than that. And we've built a holistic, all-in-one solution that is not just helping you to manage an event, but is helping you to run a more successful event. I know that
Okay.
you've been involved in several events in the past. I read that I think you organized some events, so you know how complicated that is.
I know the blood, sweat, and tears that is being put into these things. Yeah.
So in a single platform, we offer everything from creating the event website to promote the event, to selling tickets and managing registration, to providing a networking community for attendees, and many other modules to help you manage content and speakers and
Wonderful.
sponsors and so on. And on top of that, there is a whole layer of data and insights that
Yep.
helps you take decisions that are based on data, and by that help you prove the impact of those events on the bottom line.
Wow. Okay. So talk to me a little bit about these data and insights that you're looking for at events. What matters to the event organizers or what they're looking for? Where's that added value over there?
Obviously, it really depends on the type of the event, but let's talk
Yeah.
about, I don't know, an event of one of the events of Amazon, who's running an event on for AWS developers or for the ecosystem. At the end of the day, these organizations run events for a reason. Usually it's a business reason, either to accelerate pipeline, to create new pipeline, to retain customers, meaning make an impact on retention. Sometimes it's a brand play. And we have many KPIs. Again, depending on your specific objective, we help you surface those insights to really understand, okay, how did the event impact my bottom line or my pipeline? Then you have beautiful dashboards and stats. And because we are holistic, we have data from the attendees interaction, sponsor attendee interaction, audience engagement. So there's a lot of data points that you really need a holistic solution in order to surface them to something that an average marketer can actually understand.
Okay, that's interesting. So how do you actually adapt that to an online event? What does it mean to have an online event? And just, I'm a very good friend of mine, Mickey. He has a startup called Avian, and he actually recently organized the OTC, the Online Travel Conference, with about, I don't know, 3,500 participants. And that was really, to me, watching from the side as somebody who organized quite a few conferences and events, watching this amazing event unfold in front of me with nobody having to print out name tags, nobody having to go and put electricity across the auditorium. It was pretty crazy.
It is. So, in addition to telling Mickey to use Bizzabo next time, one thing that
Hear that, Mickey?
is unique about virtual events is that, yes, costs, the production cost is way lower. You do not need a venue, you do not need food, and so on. Having said that, they are complex. If you want to run a couple of thousands people event, the stream quality, to be able to engage the audience, the alternative, when you sit in a venue, you cannot really run that easily, right? To stand up in the middle and go, you can go to your phone, that's true. But in the virtual conference, the alternative is a click away. So to run a very successful virtual conference and to have an engaged audience, and you can actually, that actually provides value, not just, it cannot be just a webinar. Most people today, I'm gonna watch the recording, right? A real event in the virtual space needs to have all of the components of a successful in-person event. Some serendipity, to be able to meet new people, to have conversations, to be inspired by the content. Sessions need to be shorter to keep you engaged.
Right.
The platform should enable you to do multitasking because that's a lost fight. Everyone is multitasking. So let's just enable the attendees to multitask around the event. So there are many ingredients for running a successful virtual event, and we're all learning it as we go. It's not like we've been, virtual events were probably less than 0.5% of the total events in the world. And now they're probably 99%. So the world is going through a huge...
I think it's interesting because, I'm also looking at the classroom experience, for example, now that I'm doing virtual studies at Stanford. It feels like a daily online conference where we gather around, we have these, 6 classes that we're going to go to, and we jump around from different rooms to different speakers, networking with the students. And it's just difficult to feel the urgency to be there in person when you have the recording 2 hours later and I can sit down at 11 p.m. after I finished my work and I can just sit down and relax and watch it. How do you tangibly create the value of networking and the serendipity and what you were touching on for the real time being? Because at the end, it's so accessible. It's right around the corner. I just have to wait a few hours and it'll be online.
That's true. I can tell you that we're definitely not done, and I do not think that we've cracked it. We're on the right track. We see a lot of success, but our vision for virtual events is very, very big. We believe that once events will be back, and they will, because at the end of the day, there is nothing like, it's true that virtual events have advantages, but there is nothing like shaking a hand. And I personally am optimistic. I do think that people will be back at shaking hands.
That was my next question.
and to look someone in the eye. There's nothing like a face-to-face. Having said that, I do think that what we see now and the market education around virtual events will cause the hybrid events category to rise,
Yeah.
meaning that every live event will have a virtual track in a way.
Interesting.
So a new category will emerge out of this crisis, in my mind. And to have people actually join live is only by, again, helping them connect with other people, having conversations, something that you can just not get in a recording. And that's the thing to crack.
Totally. Alon, I'd love to hear a little bit about yourself. So you've seen Bizzabo grow from 10 employees to 130 as you moved to New York. Where do you come from? How do you even get to Bizzabo, and where does all this passion lie within you?
I met my two co-founders actually in a IDC, which is a private university in Israel.
Yep.
We all got accepted to the Zell entrepreneurship program.
Wonderful. I just had a session with Liat Aronson the other day.
Send them my regards. One of my favorite people.
Amazing.
And the three of us had an amazing click, honestly, from day one. We all came from many, many years in the Israeli Air Force and kind of like were raised on very, very similar values. After we graduated, we moved on to part-time jobs and started working like twice a day behind my parents' backyard. A small place, 20 minutes outside of Tel Aviv. And we're very passionate about doing something related to connecting people at events. Over the years, after almost a year and a half, I moved to New York when we were still 10 people without any product market fit, without revenue, without anything, and had the opportunity of building our go-to-market teams, the sales team, the marketing team, the customer success team, and so on.
Wow.
And also led a very interesting pivot. We started as a mobile networking app and kind of like expanded to this event success platform after we saw that the market has just a huge need to it. And personally, I have two amazing young kids, Noam and Dani, 3 years old and a year and a half, married to Tal.
Wonderful.
As mentioned, was in the Air Force for many years, and very passionate about amazing teamwork, being surrounded by very, very smart, capable people, and we love challenges. So actually, we're enjoying this time because it's a very, very challenging time, very sad time as well. But business-wise, challenges are making us stronger, and we believe that we have a team who's shining when it's difficult.
Right. So I mean, everybody obviously is working online. You have, I mean, it's a big company now. It's not like a small startup in the backyard. You have over 100 people working full time on this. You're a leader. You're a co-founder. You're one of the chief somethings. And how do you go and lead a team the day that this thing hits, and not only lead any regular startup, but you're leading a startup that is directly affected by the executive order of shutting down events. So how do you go and rationalize that to over 100 employees who are now saying, well, I don't know if we should be here?
That is a really good question. And I think we were very, very lucky to have a very strong company culture and set of values that our people really believe in. And when it hit, we had to really over communicate and be very transparent on what our plans are, on why we believe that there's a huge opportunity ahead of us if we move fast, if we become a speedboat, if we go back to the garage days and thinking like a 10 people startup.
Wow.
And we're able to rally the troops around us and be very agile. And I think understanding that working from home is not like being in the office, and you need to be in front of your people on Zoom, to be very communicative, to really recognize and be empathetic to your people, because everyone is going through difficult times.
Yeah.
Well, in New York, some people are with their roommates in a very, very small room without great conditions to work, and they need that motivation boost once a day, and to know that someone is thinking about them, someone takes care of them. And we do all kinds of things like virtual happy hours. We send gifts to people's homes and Uber Eats coupons. And
Wonderful.
virtual margarita classes and all kinds of cool things to make them feel
No,
part
and
of
I'm
a
sure
part of
also,
a team.
in New York, I'm working remotely at a startup, an amazing startup here in Palo Alto. So we have a lot of the similar things that you mentioned. But I think one thing that you do have that we don't have is that probably every person that works in Bizzabo in New York is at least one connection away from somebody who has COVID. And I think, and I'm sure that has an even more, it raises even more adversity than, we're just saying, yes, a few of us are directly affected, but really we're just a part of this whole big arena. New York is really the heart. And when you know somebody that has it, all of a sudden, I think the world can turn upside down.
I can tell you more than that. We had several people in the company who had it and recovered, and
Wow.
that all happened while we were pivoting. So again, that was it
Alon,
made it even more interesting.
do you take over 100 people and you've pivoted the whole boat, or do you take just the people that are sitting on the deck and saying, you guys, we have a secret plan, I want you guys to go right, and let's just see what this goes?
We did had we were very fast to understand that we need to create some sort of a task force who will
Yeah.
be able to lead the boat together with the leadership team. So we did appoint a virtual task force, and they were in charge of really responding very fast to the market and constantly enabling and educating the rest of the team. So it was a very structured process, but everyone needs to be involved, and obviously you need to have people who can take decisions, because 100 people cannot take decisions at the same time. So we did have a task force. We met with our leadership team more often, with our board more often, to enable us to move fast.
Definitely. So give me a little bit of context as of, I don't know, let's say January of 2020. What is happening with Bizzabo in the event management world? So how many events are you doing? What type of your private company? So maybe you can't disclose that, but
Sure.
But I'd love to get a little bit of sense of what Bizzabo is like.
Well, I can tell you that the first week of March, where all of the TechCrunch and everyone kept publishing that that event got canceled and that event got canceled, we opened our dashboard and saw that we have around 1,000 events planned on the platform in the next 3 months. And day by day, we saw another announcement or got another email, canceled.
Wow.
So from being, in a very successful quarter with some of our biggest clients planned, this is event season, by the way. So all of the top technology conferences who are our customers just canceled in a speedy period. So that was challenging, as you can imagine, and obviously tons of uncertainty and a lot of stress among our employees of, okay, what will we do if all of our events are canceled?
Totally. Okay, Alon, we have just about 2 minutes left, but I'd love to know, give me some piece of advice that you would give to a rising entrepreneur. You went through possibly one of the hardest adversities that a startup can go through, essentially shutting down the shelters within a day and saying, okay, good luck, even though you're a successful 130 people company. Here's a twist. What is one advice to a rising entrepreneur who's going to go through a lot of adversities, and you just went through a really major one?
I think to stay agile, open-minded, Rosh Gadol, that we're not going to get into that definition now, but it's key. And to honestly to stay cool and not give up. That's if you work for it, if you dare, again, optimistic. It will come. It's in your hands.
Oh, definitely. And I think it's all about the reaction. And, just like you came out the other end even more successful, I think for every startup that does this, you have 9 or 99 startups who are saying, okay, let's just wait it out and hope that we make it by the end. So I definitely think it's this resilience and this Rosh Gadol, and I definitely see it. Alon, right before we finish, I have to ask you the hardest question. I'd love to know 3 words that you would best describe yourself as.
Probably the first one is family.
Nice.
I have to be surrounded by family, my own family, and the Bizzabo family, and Second one is I mentioned that before, but optimism.
Yeah.
And I guess the third word.
Would that have been, would this word have been there in January if we had this interview back then?
If we had what? Sorry.
If we had the interview back in January, would optimism still be in your top 3?
Yes. Oh, yes. That's my
Nice.
wife, my mom.
Nice.
they would use that descriptive word always. And the third one is probably I don't know, level-headed, staying cool.
I love it, and I'll add Rosh Gadol at the end. All right, Alon, thank you so much for the time. I really appreciate it, and best of luck with everything that you're doing. It sounds pretty amazing, even in the hardest of times.
Thank you very much. Good luck to you as well. Enjoy Stanford.
Thank you.